right, welcome back, everybody. Denver is full of history, and the Denver Office of Storytelling is working on getting more of that history out there. Well, since they launched in 2019, they've told over 400 stories. It's so impressive. And one of those is about the Chinatown that used to be here in Denver. You can catch the documentary this weekend at the Colorado Dragon Boat Film Festival, but we wanted to know a little bit more about it. So Roxana Soto, documentary filmmaker, along with Heather Long-Clifton, are here now with more. Ladies, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Of course, well, we're talking about very historical moments here in Denver. So Roxana, I want to start with you. Can you tell us more about the Denver Office of Storytelling? What's the goal? I mean, 400 stories, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so cultural preservation through story is at the heart of what we do in the Office of Storytelling.
Yes.
And what that means is that we strive to preserve and share the history and culture of Denver by creating films in the voices of people that normally don't get their stories to be told.
Yes.
They've been historically marginalized or they're the underrepresented. You know, a lot of people don't realize that the history of Denver and the people that have helped build Denver is very diverse.
Yes.
You know, they don't realize, they haven't been taught that. Right. So since the launch of the office, we've been trying to fix that a little bit, you know, through stories that explore topics like the history of drag in Denver. People don't realize that drag shows existed from the beginning.
Yeah.
Through the history of the Chicano movement, but from the point of view of the women,
yeah.
the Chicanas,
wow.
and now with Reclaiming Denver's Chinatown, our latest documentary.
Incredible. Well, so important to explore all of these different stories. Now, let's talk to what drew the team to the story of Denver's Chinatown in particular.
Yeah, so like many people, we actually didn't know that Denver had a Chinatown. You know, a lot of people don't realize that because it's been a long time, and also because there's nothing left of it. There are no remnants. So we, when we heard from Heather and her cousin Linda, you know, they reached out to us and they said, we have this story that we don't want it to be forgotten. Are you interested in telling the story?
Yeah.
And we definitely wanted to jump on that. You know, we definitely wanted to be able to tell their story, which is an incredible story. Their family has been here for 7 generations. So
right.
we wanted to make sure to be able to honor that. And what started as a story of a family really turned to be this documentary. We talked to other people whose families have been here for generations.
Yes.
We spoke to a history professor at CU Boulder who's an expert on Asians in Colorado. Mm-hmm. And we talked to an organization that's re-envisioning what a modern day Chinatown could look like today.
Amazing. Yeah. There's so much here too. This is so great. And Heather, this for you, I'm sure is so huge because your grandmother and great-grandmother both talked about in this film, which is so impressive. In 7 generations, that is so huge. Did you learn a lot about yourself, and what does this mean to you to have this kind of come to fruition?
Well, it meant a huge amount to all of us in the family because we wanted to recognize our grandmother and our great-grandmother, and that's the segment of the documentary that Linda and I talked about, my cousin Linda. And these were 2 incredible women. When we went to visit my great-grandmother, and she lived at 19th and Market, and we would enter on the market side of her house, or her home, her abode, yes. And then the other side of her abode emptied or opened into the alley, yeah. Which was the Chinatown.
Wow.
So that was Chinatown at that time.
Yes.
We didn't realize that at the time. We just went in the front door.
Right.
And so none of that really occurred. Then we also had a chance to recognize my grandmother, and she achieved her goal of gaining U.S. citizenship.
Yes.
And I actually had an opportunity to help her to read and write.
Wow.
So that she could achieve that goal that she had. So it meant a lot to us that we could recognize both of those women, and also just to learn more about our family. We learned a ton. We learned about the fact that my grandfather was part of the Bing Kong Tong, that he managed the Bing Kong Tong wow. back in the 40s and maybe the late 30s. And you know, this was a society, a brotherhood that helped Chinese immigrants yes. to get settled. They offered English classes and Chinese school and yes. that kind of thing. Yeah. So we learned lots of different things about our family. It was awesome.
Well, we cannot wait to see the film. There's so much that we can learn here. Ladies, thank you both so much for being here.
Of course.
All
thank
right,
you.
guys, you can see Reclaiming Denver's Chinatown on the big screen. That's on Friday. Friday, March 10th during the Colorado Dragon Boat Film Festival. For tickets and a full list of events, you can head to cdfilm.org. We'll be right back.